At the age of 48, Lao Jing, a man with a penchant for plumpness, married a new wife, Lu Meihao, who was over 20 years his junior. This southern belle was petite and had a sweet, melodic voice that charmed Lao Jing. In their first meeting, he wasted no time and asked, "What do you think of me? If you're okay with it, let's get married as soon as possible." Lu Meihao, perhaps unaccustomed to such hasty proposals, stared at him in bewilderment for a few seconds and replied in her gentle voice, "I need some time to think about it." What did Lao Jing have to offer? A struggling small grocery store, a dilapidated apartment from the 1980s above the store, and an unmarried son. His assets and burdens were clear for all to see. "What do you need to think about? I know my situation. I understand that life isn't easy for you here. If you marry me, I can't promise much, but you'll have control over every penny we earn at home. It's up to you," Lao Jing assured her. It was this assurance that moved Lu Meihao. Life was tough in this unfamiliar place, and her hometown in the remote countryside was far from prosperous. Setting up a home in the city, even with a man like Lao Jing, was a dream come true. She glanced at the overweight Lao Jing and, in a somewhat naive manner, agreed to his proposal. When Lao Jing and Lu Meihao organized their wedding, they invited all their neighbors, making it a grand affair. Lao Jing wanted to show off, proud of his new, youthful bride. Lao Jing's determination had a reason behind it. His previous wife, 3 years his senior, married him with ulterior motives. However, after just a few years of good times, she fell ill, and it took over a decade to deplete their savings to pay for her medical expenses. Lao Jing's golden brick never materialized, and she passed away, leaving him alone. From the time his first wife fell ill, they slept in separate beds, effectively making Lao Jing a widower even before her passing. Therefore, he wanted to marry a young woman who would care for him and help him make up for the years of suffering he had endured. He wanted to live life with his head held high. In their honeymoon phase, Lao Jing and Lu Meihao became inseparable, even waiting for each other when going to the restroom. When they went out, Lao Jing would insist on holding Lu Meihao's delicate hand as if he feared she might disappear. From a distance, it looked like a father guiding his daughter. Neighbors would tease him, "Lao Jing, are you taking your daughter to school?" Or, "Lao Jing, are you grocery shopping with your daughter?" Lao Jing didn't mind the jokes, he was basking in happiness. After 2 months, Lu Meihao became pregnant. Lao Jing joyfully patted the bottle of liquor filled with various herbal concoctions, claiming that it played a crucial role in their success. Lao Jing proudly escorted the precious Lu Meihao through the streets, wanting to share the news with everyone they met. He wished he could point to her flat belly and announce to the world that his wife was expecting. He turned to Lu Meihao and said, "I hope it's a girl, that way, we can make a nice character." Lu Meihao, with sparkling eyes, asked him, "How much of your assets will you give to your daughter?" This question struck at Lao Jing's hidden concerns. He had promised his first wife that their son would inherit the house, whether he remarried or not. Besides the house, their savings had been used to fill the financial void created by her illness. In reality, he was a pauper. Lao Jing chuckled, "They are both my flesh and blood, whatever my son gets, my daughter will get too." Lu Meihao contentedly finished a plate of spare ribs, and Lao Jing slurped down the remaining broth. As Lao Jing had wished, Lu Meihao gave birth to a daughter, who bore a striking resemblance to Lao Jing, especially in the forehead. Lao Jing cradled the newborn with tears of joy in his eyes, proudly exclaiming, "Look at her, she looks just like me, she's bound to be smart." Lu Meihao, giggling like a mischievous squirrel, hid beneath the covers. They say children born in one's old age are especially cherished, and Lao Jing was no exception. He held his daughter with utmost care, fearing any harm might befall her. Even at night, he would change her diapers and prepare her milk formula with unbridled delight. Lu Meihao was truly fortunata. Having been married for just a year, she had blossomed, looking as plump as a fully inflated balloon after her postpartum confinement. Lao Jing's life was fulfilling, he had a loving wife and a darling baby girl. But at the same time, he developed a new worry. Since marrying Lu Meihao, his son, Xiao Jing, had been avoiding coming home to the family. Lu Meihao, barely 2 years older than Xiao Jing, presented an uncomfortable situation for him. With a new member added to the family, it was essential for him to come back and acknowledge his baby sister. Lao Jing made over a dozen phone calls to Xiao Jing, and finally, he reluctantly returned home for a visit. Lao Jing proudly presented the baby to Xiao Jing, who glanced at her briefly, seeming uninterested. He impatiently stated, "I have things to do, "I'll leave first," and swiftly departed. Lao Jing understood that Xiao Jing held a grudge over his marriage to Lu Meihao. Less than a year had passed since his mother's passing, and Lao Jing had already brought a young woman into the house. Xiao Jing couldn't help but feel resentment. Lao Jing turned to look at Lu Meihao, whose complexion had turned as dark as the bottom of a pot, and chuckled as he explained, "Xiao Jing is too busy with work." Lu Meihao snatched the baby from his arms and slammed the bedroom door shut from the inside. As Lao Jing approached, his nose nearly collided with the door. For several days, Lu Meihao gave Lao Jing the cold shoulder. He was in a predicament, caught between a son and a young wife, both dear to his heart. Fortunately, they didn't live under the same roof, or things would have been even more unbearable. In the end, Lao Jing decided to splurge and bought a bracelet for Lu Meihao to placate her. Lao Jing walked hand in hand with Lu Meihao, pushing the baby stroller as they took a leisurely stroll down the street. It was a heartwarming sight. If Xiao Jing didn't want to come home, it was his loss. After all, Lao Jing would always be his father, and blood ties couldn't be changed. With this thought, Lao Jing felt that fate had been kind to him. He had both a son and a daughter, a loving wife by his side, and he should be content. However, just as Lao Jing felt that the heavens were smiling upon him, fate delivered a harsh blow. Someone came to Lao Jing's small grocery store to purchase a few items. These products weren't in high demand, so they were stored on a high shelf. Lao Jing climbed up to retrieve them, but he slipped and fell. His lower body wouldn't move, and he was unsure if he could even stand up again. Lu Meihao held Lao Jing, tears streaming down her face. Lao Jing tried to console her, "It's all right, I'm not dead, why are you crying?" He felt even more desolate in his heart. If he became a helpless invalid, it would be better to have died. During Lao Jing's hospital stay, Xiao Jing only visited briefly. Lao Jing felt a profound sense of melancholy. Was this truly his own son? Then, Lao Jing was brought back home, and Lu Meihao's life plummeted from heaven to hell. She had to manage the grocery store's business, take care of Lao Jing, and tend to the baby, turning their lives into a chaotic mess. Lao Jing held Lu Meihao's hand and said affectionately, "It's all thanks to you, otherwise, who would I rely on?" He realized how wise he had been in choosing a younger wife. It had become evident that she not only managed the household efficiently but also contributed to the family's income. A true value indeed. One day, the shop received a new batch of goods. Lu Meihao was reorganizing things when she dragged out an old box. The box was locked. Could it be that Lao Jing had hidden his secret stash of money in it? She unlocked the box, but there was no secret money inside. Instead, she found a property deed with Xiao Jing's name on it, which had been transferred shortly after her marriage to Lao Jing. Lao Jing had hidden it there, thinking she rarely went to the shop, making it a safe hiding spot. Lu Meihao confronted Lao Jing in anger. "How come the house is under Xiao Jing's name? Why didn't you tell me?" Lao Jing didn't dare to respond, taken aback by the sudden attack. His mind was in turmoil, trying to figure out how to smooth things over. "It's not what you think. This situation." Lu Meihao glared at him, and it seemed like she was about to explode. Lao Jing finally said, "Well, I really didn't know about this. It must have been something Xiao Jing's mother did." "Are you saying that the deceased woman turned into a ghost and did it? Do you think I'm blind? I can read the dates on this." Lu Meihao's voice was on the brink of breaking. Things were getting darker and murkier. Lao Jing decided to remain silent. In front of Lao Jing, Lu Meihao started throwing a tantrum, breaking anything from small dishes to the washing machine. Everything seemed to have offended her. She cursed in her hometown dialect, her soft, melodic voice now sounding harsh and unpleasant. The days of harmony were gone. Lao Jing dared not make a sound. He was afraid that Lu Meihao would divorce him. Without her, he would be left to fend for himself. Xiao Jing was unreliable, hiring a babysitter was too expensive, and in reality, he didn't have the money for that. There was no other way but to rely on his thrifty wife. One day, after Lu Meihao had gone out, she returned with an entirely different attitude. She said, "Lao Jing, I want to invest in a project." "Invest?" When did Lu Meihao become knowledgeable about investments? Lao Jing asked, "What kind of project?" "You'll have to give me the specifics for me to determine if it's a profitable venture." Lu Meihao couldn't explain and was at a loss for words. After a while, she started rummaging through their belongings, searching for their bank passbook. Lao Jing had promised that she would manage every cent they earned, but for over a year, he had only provided her with a fixed monthly allowance, and she hadn't even seen their passbook. This was a far cry from what Lao Jing had initially promised. Finally, Lu Meihao found an old passbook hidden in one of Lao Jing's shoes. She placed it in front of him, pointing at the 4-digit number on it and yelled, "Where's the money?" Lao Jing pouted like a child, unable to utter a single word. "Lao Jing, where did you hide the money?" Liu Meihao roared. "I don't have more money than that, I haven't hidden anything," Lao Jing said confidently. The more he denied it, the more convinced Lu Meihao was that he was lying. A man nearing 50 with only 5,000 in the passbook? Who would believe that? Lao Jing claimed that the money had been spent on his former wife's illness. The grocery store didn't make much, and with the new expenses of having a child, what could he save? His recent illness had drained his savings. Lu Meihao stood there for a moment, then turned and walked out. Her retreating figure carried an icy, murderous aura, sending a shiver down Lao Jing's spine. Lu Meihao left home for 2 days, leaving Lao Jing alone. She left a few pieces of bread and boiled eggs on the bedside table. Lao Jing wouldn't starve, but it was a meager meal. Lao Jing cried several times, but crying was exhausting, so he stopped. He was angry and worried. Could Lu Meihao have run off with another man during her absence? If that were true, he would kick her out of the house. But what about the child? He couldn't afford to raise the child on his own. Various strange thoughts raced through his mind. He even contemplated killing that despicable woman. When Lu Meihao returned, Lao Jing's determination wavered. He groveled and said with a forced smile, "Meihao, can you change the diaper for me? Meihao, can you pour me a glass of water? Meihao, can you cook me some noodles?" Lu Meihao, disgusted, went over to the foul-smelling Lao Jing, her eyes piercing like daggers, shattering his self-esteem into pieces. Lao Jing smiled obsequiously, his self-esteem no longer holding any value. Lu Meihao scolded and berated him, and Lao Jing was grateful. He didn't dare to say a word. Lao Jing strained his senses, trying to catch a whiff of any unfamiliar male scent on Lu Meihao. But she didn't give him the chance. After his illness, they had been sleeping in separate beds. After a year of normal married life, he had become a disabled widower once more. The 2 days that Lu Meihao was missing became a thorn in Lao Jing's side. He became paranoid and his hearing became unusually sensitive. During the day, he didn't dare to sleep and would listen intently to any sounds from downstairs. He found nothing suspicious or any unfamiliar individuals visiting the grocery store. But every afternoon, Lu Meihao would lock the door and leave for a while. This further fueled Lao Jing's imagination. He was convinced that she had someone else now. And he was right. A young man with the same accent as Lu Meihao came to the grocery store one rainy day. Lao Jing pressed his ear against the floor, listening to their conversation, which was full of intimate terms, and often revolved around the topics of the house and the child. Then, the voices fell silent, and the grocery store's door was locked from the inside. Subsequently, there were sounds like clothes being removed. Lao Jing's heart raced, and his entire body quivered with anxiety. He remained silent, frozen in fear. That woman, how could she dare to bring another man into their house and do such a thing right under his nose? He should have caught them in the act, exposed their infidelity to the world. What could be more humiliating and helpless than this? He had never hated himself more than in that moment. The world suddenly fell into an eerie silence, and all Lao Jing could hear was the relentless pounding of his own heart. Time passed agonizingly slowly, about half an hour, and then the door of the grocery store was unlocked. It seemed like the man had left. Lu Meihao hummed a tune as she came upstairs to feed the child. Lao Jing stayed still, pretending to be asleep. That night, Lao Jing couldn't sleep. He couldn't bear the humiliation and shame any longer. Lu Meihao had done it on purpose, she was a wicked woman. As he stared at the graceful, youthful body of Lu Meihao sleeping on the other bed, anger burned away his rationality. In that moment, he suddenly felt a surge of strength in his numb legs. He stood up, creeping closer to Lu Meihao's bed. She was sleeping so soundly, still smiling and muttering in her dreams. She must be dreaming about her lover. Well, then, let them meet in the underworld. He reached for the fruit knife on the table, ready to strike Lu Meihao. Again and again, he thrust the knife, and the woman fell into a pool of blood. Lao Jing woke up drenched in sweat. His entire body was soaked, and the diaper was sticky. He breathed a sigh of relief. It was just a dream. One day, Xiao Jing came back, and his relationship with Lao Jing suddenly improved significantly. He told Lao Jing that one of his classmates from the Urban Planning Bureau had given him a tip. They were planning to demolish this old 2-story building, and Lao Jing could potentially get 3 or 4 new apartments in exchange. Both of them discussed this exciting news, calculating how much these apartments would be worth. Lao Jing proposed that one of those 3 or 4 apartments should be reserved for Lu Meihao and their daughter. Xiao Jing agreed, saying that as long as she took good care of him, it would help ease his burden. They paid no attention to Lu Meihao, who was eavesdropping by the door. However, from that day on, Lu Meihao never went out in the afternoon, and Lao Jing didn't hear from that wild man again. Life went on as usual. Lao Jing enjoyed a hot meal every day, and he was kept clean. While it was uncertain if he would ever walk again, one thing was sure, Lu Meihao would not leave him. Not only that, but she would also take care of him diligently. Ever since she found out that Lao Jing intended to leave the house to his son, Lu Meihao had been scheming to get her hands on his money. The balance in the bank book left her in despair. Not only was she poor, but she also had to tend to a helpless paraplegic. What was she gaining from this? She had initially thought about getting rid of the items in the grocery store and running away with someone else. But now, with the sudden appearance of the new apartments, if Lao Jing decided to divorce her at this point, she wouldn't get a single cent. So, she needed to sweet-talk Lao Jing, secure the money, and then think about her next move. Sometimes, Lao Jing wondered if one day Lu Meihao would discover that he and Xiao Jing had staged this whole scenario. Would she try to kill him? Yes, the story about the demolition was entirely fabricated by Lao Jing and Xiao Jing. Even if Lu Meihao didn't eavesdrop, he would have found a way to convey the message to her. When she couldn't bear it anymore and asked Lao Jing when the demolition was going to happen, he also had an excuse ready. After all, he had no real say in the demolition process. People are inherently selfish, each having their own agenda. Lao Jing wanted to keep Lu Meihao as a free caregiver. He also had to pass the heavy baggage of Xiao Jing to her. Who isn't self-centered and trying to make the best of their situation? Lao Jing saw this clearly and thought it through. He didn't bring up the fact that he had overheard Lu Meihao's infidelity. He couldn't control everything, but as long as Lu Meihao took care of him well now, the rest could wait. Lao Jing finished a bowl of ribs, both meat and broth, and wiped his mouth contentedly.